Hey everyone, John Ryan here with Solution State, and today we're going to be talking about app campaigns. So a little bit about what are app campaigns, how to run them, what settings you should use, and what to do in the future. App campaigns are awesome because you can get a crazy amount of downloads for not that much money. The issue though is that they're a little bit of a pain to set up, and you kind of need a development team that knows how to operate inside of SDKs. But if you are launching just like an Android one, it's really simple because Android actually, since Google owns Play Store and Android is part of the Play Store, because it's Google, it actually builds all the conversion tracking for it, and you can launch an app on the Play Store in like 5 minutes. It's amazing. Or not an app. You can launch a campaign on the App Store in like 5 minutes, and all the good stuff for tracking's in there. But app campaigns, for those not in the know, Google actually has the ability to take your app and promote it across many services of Google. It will use display, it'll search, it will do YouTube, it'll be inside the Play Store. It actually places your app smartly in front of a wide array of audience and then self-optimizes very, very, very efficiently. Now, there are some things to look for. You don't want to have your cost per conversion be too low. If your cost per conversion is too low, Google's favoring traffic that simply likes to click, but maybe not take any sort of in-app action, like people that download apps and they open them and then they close them and then they delete them later on. You're going to get a lot of those. You want to keep a good balance between, is there enough conversions at a decent enough conversion cost, and then are they actually moving forward inside the app? Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky, is because you'll have to develop sometimes some custom conversions, custom conversion actions inside of GA4 plus Firebase in order to identify where those users are going inside the app, and then measure against that. So let's kind of get started. So I recently just launched one on the 15th of November. You're going to see just called Google App Install. It's limited by budget on purpose. But what's nice is we launched this thing on the 15th of November. So it hasn't even been a full month yet. It's been 3 weeks. And I already have 500 downloads. And my average cost per download is $4.64. But you're going to see something really cool. If you look at from the 15th to the 26th, from the 15th through the 26th, my cost per install was $5.76. Look at the last, let's say, 7 days, it's down to $4. So if you look at kind of like the first couple days, this thing, the cost per install was, come on, Google, move a little faster, $16. So it's a kind of a crazy optimization period. If you look at the overall trend line and you look at the conversions based also on the performance and say the cost per conversion, you'll see this big, it's $19, then 13, then 16, then 16, then 7, 6, 4, and then just kind of hovers there. Now, I purposely kept it hovering there, and you're probably going to ask, well, why? And if you look at my cost per install is around $3 on average over the last 14 days. There is some conversion lag here, so just know that that's something to take into consideration. But in the last 14 days, my cost per conversion was $3.87. Now, here's the cool part, is when you look at the conversion action, you can see that I'm tracking 381 conversions, but what I'm also tracking in the all conversion tab is how many are opening. So you see the people that installed it, 382, the people that first opened it, 240. So not only these people downloading the app, they're also opening the app. And now what we're doing is we're building out subsequent custom conversions to say, well, did they download it? Yes. Did they open it? Yes. Did they register? Yes. Did they take advantage of the free offer? Yes. Did they show up did they book their event? Yes. Did they show up to the booking? Yes. Did they? And we'll be able to see all the way down the funnel as to how well these campaigns are working. Now, an app campaign to start is really simple, and you're going to see some blurs here just because this is the client's name, and also some blurs up there. So I want to make sure that I'm blurring it out, but it's okay. It's not really high competition. But inside of a campaign, you're actually going to go at a new campaign and then use the app promotion. This app promotion, you're going to see a few different things. So you do app installs or app engagement. However, the app engagement, you'll need to have your app be installed 250,000 times before you can run a campaign specifically for app engagement. Well, why? It's because it needs a bigger audience to make sure they can actually market to those people. But if we're looking at app installs, now you have to select a native platform. So it has to be only Android or only Apple. And so I'm going to say Android, and I'm just going to choose an app. This one's the app here that we're going to be promoting. And let's continue. Now, this is a fairly automated campaign, but I'm going to give you some tips and some tricks. So call the campaign, obviously, whatever you want. The locations, obviously, we're only doing a 15-mile radius around Fort Lauderdale-ish, about 15-mile radius. But you can run it nationwide if you want. You're actually going to get a cheaper cost per conversion if you're running it, nationally or even globally. But if you want to run a very specific area, still can be really effective. So make sure you choose wherever your location is, presence of people in or regularly in, and then exclude the people that are in your excluded area. It's fine. Make sure this is set to English. You don't want to set it to all languages like we do search campaigns, because this one is actually going to run on multiple outbound campaigns or multiple outbound channels like display on YouTube. So make sure that whatever the native language is of your app, make sure that that's here. Now, the average daily budget. This is where I would say that you want to start with at least $50 a day. You don't necessarily want to go below $50 a day because it's not going to optimize that quickly. So if you want to start at $50 a day, perfectly fine. I actually started with $100 a day, and that worked. Google says it's not going to work, but I'll share with you how it worked. So $100 per day. You're going to focus on install volume. You cannot yet focus on in-app actions. I can, you can't yet. But once you focus on in-app actions, you can actually, it's pretty cool. You can actually select, okay, well, what else are they doing? You can build out these custom in-app actions in GA4 plus Firebase, import them as a conversion action in Google Ads, and then measure them here. And you can kind of see these are not used right now because we don't have subscriptions and in-app purchases. It's a different type of app. But you can actually select the ones that you are going to be focusing on if you want to focus on in-app actions. Now, let me clear this here. We're gonna start with what I would recommend, which is install volume. So install volume, and then initially, what I would recommend is targeting all users, not users likely to perform an in-app action. Well, why? Well, because you can then essentially later on, you can change that into an in-app action and compare the two. I actually found that in these type of campaigns, paying a little bit more for people that are focusing on install volume has been a better conversion rate into an in-app actions than paying more for people to perform an in-app action. It's kind of interesting. It's almost like that cost per lead and lead quality. If you look at install volume and then using the all users and then target cost per install, right now I'm getting $3 cost per installs. I'm running it at 10. However, I started at 100. I started at 100, got $20, then turned into 13, then turned into 10, then turned into 8 like the first 4 days, all with keeping target cost per acquisition over 100. I got $8 down to $3 by changing my cost per install from $100 to 10. I'm purposely overshooting the goal. Why? Well, I know that when I pay too little for a new app install, those people don't open the app immediately. If my cost per acquisition is around $330, $380, really good sweet spot to not overpay for those installs, but to get good in-app actions. So I'm not saying that that's where you need to start at like $3.08, but find and measure what your cost per install versus how are they actually engaging in the app. Sometimes you'll find that the higher CPC, you'll get 100 installs and 80 opens. Low CPC is like 100 install, 20 opens. It doesn't do you any good to have a person just download an app if they're not going to use it. So find a good balancing point there. Now, what you're going to find is that when I ran this campaign, it's like, hey, your budget's too low. Your ads are not going to show. I'm getting 400 installs every 3 weeks or 500 installs every 3 weeks with this exact setup. It will work. It works really well. Start date and end date, again, if you want to. This is a kind of an advanced YouTube channel, so I'm going to skip over to kind of the simple stuff of like, hey, how to end your campaign on a specific date. Now, data feed, again, if you're going to be using a data feed for products or anything, you can attach that here. We weren't, but that's absolutely if you are going to be using it for any sort of products that your app can sell. So save and continue. Oops. So first open, there we go. Nope. Installs there. You're not actually going to get this just yet. It will come back. You have to go back into the campaign and then change that to like your first opener installs. Like what are you going to be tracking as install volume? And you actually can change that after you start to earn the installs. So you need installs first. Then once it has installs, then you can start to see the activity. Then you can select the activity later on that you're going to be tracking. Save and continue. Your ad groups are fairly simple. So it's going to be like in a normal RSA or even like kind of a Performance Max type of ads where you're going to import your headlines, your descriptions, your imagery, your videos, your HTML. And then obviously, build a good solid ad. Make sure though that you know that in each one of these areas, it could also be the only time that one of these shows. So it might only have a headline. It might only have a headline and description. It might only have an image. So make sure that each one of your headlines, images, descriptions, videos can all stand on their own. Don't necessarily make your headlines like, "Want to know the best app? This one." Like, that's not going to work, because sometimes your ad's going to show is just going to say this one. Like, make sure they're not strung along. Make sure they're independent of each other. And then once you're done building an ad, you just hit confirmation. Like, that's it, and you are ready to go. I'm not gonna save this one here just because I don't want to start a new one. And I'm actually going to remove that one here just so this doesn't try to do anything in the future. But app installs will self-optimize. It uses conversion data from your campaign in order to say, okay, these are the people that I need to focus on, and it will optimize very quickly. It will scale very quickly. The only thing that you really can change and optimize, because there's exclude audiences, and there's also the ability to update your ad copy. So if you wanted to, you can make a few different ad groups with a few different pieces of ad copy, test those against each other, and then move on from there. But just know that Google is actually going to take the majority of its information that it is going to use for targeting from your Play Store or from the Apple App Store. So make sure that before you ever launch a campaign on specifically for your, I don't know why, I'm just going to remove here. There we go. Anyway, all right, I'll do this a little bit later. So before you launch one of these campaigns, make sure that it's almost like a Google My Business. Make sure your Google My Business is good before you launch a location extension or a local campaign. So know that that is where the majority of the information that is going to feed into Google is going to come from. And then once you have that solidified and that it's solid, then launch an app campaign. And that information that you have inside of the app page is going to dictate who you're going to get. So be truthful, be honest, be forthright, be forthcoming. And then the last thing I would say as a kind of a pro tip is make sure that your app flow is good. If you have a bad app flow, like as soon as you get to the page, it says, hey, go ahead and log in, and they can't find like a register button, you're going to have a horrible experience. So like a landing page on a website, make sure that that is optimized for new users and that you're tracking all those new users coming in. Yeah, this is John Moran here with Solutions 8, and this is kind of a quick tutorial about how app campaigns work and some quick pro tips. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know we actually know what we're doing. We shoot a video every single day, so if you want to be notified, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any input, don't hesitate to hit us up in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We get very little human interaction. Thanks for supporting our channel, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.